exactly where that is happening, but he's able to talk to different people on secure feeds in the Situation Room that he is not able to communicate with from the Oval Office, or at least it's easier to do it from the Situation Room.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House.
This is definitely the closest that we have been to a deal, because we have not heard from the president this thing that he says at the end, that other items of less importance have been agreed to. To date, it has basically just been, these guys are giving us the runaround. We might call the bombers back in.
The possible deal reportedly includes a 60-day ceasefire extension, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, ending a U.S. blockade, and talks on Iran's nuclear program. But President Trump is reaffirming his demand for Iran to give up its enriched uranium. The Justice Department's new compensation fund for claims of weaponized prosecutions is blocked by a federal judge in Virginia who set a June 12th hearing. That ruling is in one of several lawsuits over that fund. New York State has new limits on local cooperation with federal immigration enforcement.
Our view is, and I dubbed the law local cops, local crimes. I want our local police officers focused on local crimes, or responding to an auto accident or a domestic violence case or a shooting.
Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul insisting that does not make New York a sanctuary for criminals, signing bills that also include a ban on masks for all law enforcement in the state, and judicial warrants will be required for immigration officials to enter sensitive areas, including schools. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will be warmer with plenty of sunshine, reaching a high of 84. Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 58. Tomorrow will be breezy and not as warm, with high thin cloudiness and a high of 72. Sunday is expected to be beautiful with intervals of clouds and sunshine, reaching a high of 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Hugh Hewitt explains his thoughts on the California race.
This is one of those times I'm beginning to feel bad for my old home of California. Steve Hilton should be the next governor. I don't know if it's going to work out. But the leading Democrats have kept falling. Now we're down to Javier Becerra. Wonderful guy to sit next to in a restaurant. Not to talk with. We're talking about an empty suit.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea. We were meant to live free. Free to pursue our future, work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But if everyday aches and pains are slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. I tried everything and anything to help me get rid of my pain, and nothing freed me. It just masked the pain, and the side effects diminished my quality of life. I'm sure you have been there if you have real bad pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free, research-based formula that is designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. And it is not a quick fix or a temporary mask. It works from the inside out, at the source. Relief Factor. It was created for people to get back to living their life on their terms. Is that you? Walking, working, exercising, enjoying the moments that matter? This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take your stand for your own freedom. Declare your independence from pain. Try Relief Factor today. 1995, 3-week quick start. Ready for you right now. Visit relieffactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF.
Platform safety is critical at your commercial and industrial facility. Keeping people safe and meeting OSHA requirements isn't optional. That's why Vans Industrial offers free platform inspections by professional structural engineers who know exactly what to look for. Problems with platforms, ladders, or stairs can lead to costly fines or worse. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to protect people in your facility.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. With decades of experience, I bring long-standing industry knowledge from inspecting, correcting, and replacing countless platforms to make facilities safer. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor equipped to modify or replace steel catwalks, handrails, stairways, and ladders. Our union building trades professionals fabricate and install high-quality steel systems that create safer work environments.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free platform inspection by professional structural engineers. See what else we can do for you. Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Monday, June 15th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Nolan Webster and by real estate broker Ed Dream at leavingil.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn. Tune in Sunday mornings from 11 to 12 for Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, sponsored by Kuhn Capital Partners in Oak Brook.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Well, it's a very busy Friday, and I got to tell you, we're now down to 3 days before they decide what to do about an Illinois state budget, the Bears mega project bill, or Pritzker's Build Act, and so much more. And in that vein, you know, because I'm really concerned about the budget and what's going on. One of the big bills that has been passed around is this higher education equity funding. Now, this comes from 2 years ago when they had an 82-page report that essentially said we're going to fund higher education based off of race. And they put numbers to that. They literally said, oh, if you're a black student at a higher education public university in the state of Illinois, you get $6,000 extra. A Hispanic student is worth $4,000. If you're a rural student, you're worth $2,000. So you see, it's all equity all the time. Everything is race-based, and we know that because I filed that lawsuit about race-based gerrymandering, which hopefully we'll find out something new about that next week and bring you up to date. But this latest report that just came out is very concerning. The University of Illinois Medical School pushes equitable assessments for professors. Well, where is this going to lead? Because we know what's happened when you've allowed people to just graduate through high school, as the University of California has recently discovered, and you put them into a math class and they can't perform. They can't even perform math at the middle school level. Now, a lot of people have covered that story, but do we really think that we should have equitable race-based funding for med school? It's quite concerning. Well, here to discuss that is Kurt Miceli. He serves as the Chief Medical Officer for Do No Harm. Do No Harm is a nonprofit that represents physicians, nurses, medical students, patients, and policymakers focused on keeping identity politics out of medical education, research, and clinical practice. It's really important what they do. Dr. Miceli has a number of places where he's obviously plied his trade. He received a BA in economics and a BS in biology from Villanova, an MBA from the University of Virginia. Wow. An MD from Drexel University College of Medicine, and he's board certified in both psychiatry and internal medicine. He joins us now to talk about equitable grading in medical schools, specifically at the University of Illinois, and what does that mean? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, same here. Likewise, great to be here.
So you were the folks who kind of have been watching what's going on in medical schools, and I absolutely appreciate that, as my son is also a student in medical school, and I've been tracking some of what's going on as well. You guys keyed in on this. How come nobody else is raising the alarm bells?
You know, this is such an important issue of measuring and making sure that medical students are going to be graduating to be competent, well-trained physicians. And, you know, one of the things that we've just seen globally, really over the past decade or so, is this movement to this pass-fail mentality. And in fact, when we looked at all the medical schools across the country, these are the allopathic medical schools, the MD granting institutions, you find that about 75% of them in those first 2 years, the years that you're learning clinical science and understanding how to be that physician, when you're learning, doing all that basic science knowledge, the vast majority, 75% of schools are pass-fail. And we've moved into this position of just sort of going to a very mediocre standard. In fact, the assessment process for one of the board exams that's used to really help place medical students into residency programs where they're going to be doctors and learn their craft in cardiology or nephrology or whatever it might be, the placement exam a few years back went to a pass-fail modality, no longer having any sort of board score on there, no longer being able to distinguish between the excellent students, the great students, and the ones who are sort of marginally passing. And that's a real challenge because we've moved to this system where is pass good enough? And frankly, even the New England Journal of Medicine has recognized this to be an issue. They had a perspective article, I think it was about a year ago, that just made that point, that pass isn't good enough. We need to have students aspiring to excellence. We need to have them working to be their very best. They shouldn't be going into class looking to get a C or a P. They need to be going in to be the excellent physicians that you and I, that anyone would demand when they're at that moment of need, when they're in the surgery suite, when they're in the OR, wherever they might be. And so this is a real challenge within medical education, right? We're talking about medical education here, where we've moved to a system where we're not looking at the grades. And that's a problem. How do we distinguish? How do we know that folks are performing and that they're really going to be at their very best for when that time is very, very much needed?
Yeah, I think most Americans want their pilots. They don't care about gender or race. And I think when it comes to doctors and surgeons and specialties, specialists, we want the best of the best. So what do we do? What are you guys doing to try and make sure that we're safe? I mean, when it comes to either flying or when we go to the doctor.
Yeah, for one, we've got to expose it. We've got to raise the issue. And so some of the reports that we've done, we have a Center for Accountability in Medicine. And what we've done there is we've actually ranked medical schools, and we've focused on merit because that's what ultimately matters. And so our ranking that we have on our Center for Accountability in Medicine website uses just that. It looks at the MCAT scores. It looks at the GPAs. And then it also looks at the fact that, well, what is the ideological commitment of the university? Look at the mission statement. Read what it says. And if it's talking about DEI or race-based politics or that sort of thing, well, that's really not the medical school that's going to be focused on merit and excellence. And so we've got to be able to understand where's the heart and soul of the institution. And so those mission statements are critical. They're the guiding light. And if an institution is focused on excellence and academics and achievement and producing the very best doctors, well, you know what? That should be a positive in the rankings. And then likewise, looking at how medical schools view honor societies. So there's an honor society within the medical community, Alpha Omega Alpha. Some schools have chosen not to have that because it's not inclusive or such. And so we get these ridiculous notions that have come out in the past years. And so what we want to do is we want to focus on merit. We want to show what schools are out there so that as students are applying to medical school, they can make sure that they're going to the ones that are focused on merit and excellence. And so that's one way. And another way is also recognizing the importance of having conversations like this, making folks aware. I think most folks think, well, hey, my doctor's well trained and such, but I think the reality is, as you see some of the data that we're going through and see sort of the continuous focus on race-conscious admissions, even after the Supreme Court said that that's not legal, it's against the Constitution, we have to continue to bring this to light. We have to continue this conversation, and we have to make sure that government is doing the right thing, again, to focus on the notion of equality and making sure that we are treated equally and that discrimination is not occurring. Again, ultimately, this is to make sure we have the very best and brightest who are being our providers, but it's also about making sure that we're operating in a system that focuses on equality and doesn't make DEI the primary importance of any sort.
So I was reading the article about your report on what happened in campus reform, and they said the University of Illinois College of Medicine is promoting a webpage that encourages professors to adopt equitable assessments and grading practices. Equitable assessments and grading practices emphasize the process of learning versus performance outcomes and the attainment of grade. Okay, I don't know what that means. That's gobbledygook. And it respects the diversity of students' social identities as well as the diversity of students' interests. I mean, this is Marxist language, quite frankly. And this center is going to host a workshop for professors called Creating an Inclusive Syllabus, where they can promote equity, belonging, and a growth mindset. And then Inclusive Education Scholar Certificate Program enables instructors to learn about the lived experiences and contextual barriers to academic success faced by different student groups. But I got to tell you, Doctor, I'm interested in this, and I have when a girlfriend of mine, her son got into med school. I won't leave the name, and she told me that like out of 130 students at the white coat ceremony, only 16 were white males. I thought, well, I'm going to count it off when my son does his white coat ceremony, which he did 2 years ago. And sure enough, about 250 kids in his white coat ceremony. I kind of lost track. There's so many of them, but it was like between 245 and 250. 150 of them were female. The majority of those were minority female. So I went to the UIC white coat ceremony from yesterday, and I started to watch it because I am curious about this. This is very interesting. I got through about 5 different, 5 different houses before. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I had looked at 116 students. Only 14 were white males out of 116. And 41 were minority females. 32 were white females, 29 were minority males. So 63% were females, only 12% were white males. Is this what you find everywhere?
Well, I think if it's really the quality that has to matter of the individuals. And I think what we look at and what we did last year, we did a report actually requesting MCAT data to look at that's the medical admission test for medical students, prospective medical students, to sort of say, well, what are the scores on that exam in terms of the folks that are being admitted? And one of the things that we found at the University of Illinois College of Medicine was that black students, the average MCAT score among accepted black students there was actually lower than the average MCAT score among rejected Asian or white applicants, and that's a real concern. And that's a report that we produced based on looking at 2024 data, again, after Students for Fair Admission, where we're not supposed to have any race consciousness involved in the admissions process whatsoever. We still see these trends that show that, well, the academics are different. And I understand that, the application is not solely academics, but my goodness, it needs to be a good part of it. We need to make sure that the quality of the student is there and is excellent. And we see the Department of Justice raising the same question with Yale most recently, of looking at the fact that, again, it appears that the academic students are the performance of the white and Asian students is much more significant compared to those of black students. And again, the goal is to have the very best and brightest, to have the folks who have demonstrated their learning and their knowledge in order to be part of that medical education and to be there. And there are many great black students out there who have performed excellently. And I think, unfortunately, when we have these sort of race-conscious notions, it diminishes the earning that they have achieved through merit. And the focus must be on merit. You raised some of the course curriculum there that's on the University of Illinois Chicago School with the equitable assessments. And effectively, it seems to be saying that the tests are racist in some sense, that we need inclusive teaching, and that there should be really no penalties. That is a dangerous philosophy. And I think, much as you said, it leads to this sort of oppressor-oppressed mentality. And it takes any objectivity out of what is being taught and what is being learned. And in fact, we get to a system where, again, we will drive to mediocrity as opposed to aspiring to excellence. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this area. And that's what an organization like Do No Harm continues to do each and every day.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us on The Real Story and bringing this information to light, especially as it applies to Illinois. And we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for your insight. Dr. Miceli with Do No Harm.
And coming up on The Real Story, did Chicago Mayor Johnson just lie to Pope Leo? And guess what, Jeannie? The Pope was blessed with their presence. We'll explain.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Francis Scott Key wrote of a flag that refused to fall, a powerful reminder that freedom endures only when it's defended. Now, a new documentary explores President Trump's fight to protect America's constitutional republic. Sunday night on SNC. Hear from Hegseth, Rubio, Bondi, RFK Jr., Metaxas, Sekulow, and more. Plus, an inside look at the president's task force combating anti-Christian bias across the government. Watch the television premiere of By Dawn's Early Light, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, on Salem News Channel.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way and affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, 312-642-5600. Let's quickly go to Greg in LaGrange. Good morning, Greg. You're on The Real Story.
Good morning, Amy.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, good morning, guys. Gals, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm looking forward to an event where I can actually leave the house sometime and run into one of Jeanne's events so I can get out of my bunker. But I want to take issue. I don't want to take issue with Jeanne at all on anything, but you know, when you say that this insidious of equality of grades is Marxist, I don't even know if it's that, because the Soviets glorified this Stakhanovite image where you had a man that was actually held up as the standard bearer of producing in a coal mine above and beyond what his fellow workers did. This is straight out of C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis nailed this in the early 60s in Screwtape Letters, and how the devil tries to dumb down the word and lead people around by the nose by democracy. But here's a real good point I want you guys to think about, and you probably know it. This may jar your memory. The great Thomas Sowell was once in front of Congress, and he used the example of minority students competing and being put into classes with students that were superior in intellectual ability in a particular discipline against them. The case being MIT. And Dr. Sowell said, if you were to put this other student that was not as gifted or is not as advanced in knowledge as the other student who's at MIT. In IIT, he used IIT as the example. He said that person would have a better chance of surviving because it'd be less competitive amongst his peer group, and he would probably get, and he would get, more teacher to student time than you would get at a school like MIT because the students didn't need it.
Yep.
The other thing about Thomas Sowell really quickly is he made this great point, and it's never been lost on me. And it was on Firing Line with William F. Buckley. He said after the Civil War that the black family achieved more than any other racial group, than any more ethnic group in the shortest period of time. You know why that was? Family values, bonding with a mother and father. And then people would say, well, what happened? What happened was that you gave away programs that basically destroyed the family.
Hey, Greg, thanks for your comments. I really appreciate you calling in. We've got to move on. We've got a guest waiting on the line to talk about the Pope's visit. But we really do appreciate your comments. Absolutely. And you're right about what you said.
Okay,
Thank you.
so we're going to talk about the big story that everyone's talking about. Mayor Johnson possibly lied to the Pope. Well, I think he did, because the first question the Pope asked him was, how is Chicago doing?
I think the pastoral moment was the first question that he asked was, how's Chicago? How's Chicago? And, I was able to say that, Chicago is strong.
Chicago is strong. This after 39 people were shot, 1 killed, a 1-year-old. I mean, that's his answer to this? Okay, and then they asked him about ICE.
Whether that's calling attention. He wanted to know how ICE was, first of all, how it impacted our city and whether or not there were still examples of ICE raids happening in our city.
And here's the thing.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. This was just a dog and pony show. 46 people went with them, including Stacey Davis Gates, who, by the way, in the pictures that they sent out, Jeannie, they sent out still pictures. Where's Waldo? I couldn't find her, and she was hiding behind other people. And the big question is, who paid for this? Well, according to NBC5, the mayor and his staff and his security, everything was paid for. They paid for everyone's logistics on the ground, all 46 people. They transported them, and they paid for their meals. But the other delegation members had to pay for their airfare and their hotel rooms. And it was all paid for by World Business Chicago, which is funded with, guess what, Jeannie?
Tax money.
Our tax dollars, to the tune of 25 to 40%.
Well, for a quick comment on all this, I'd like to pull in Mary Fiorito, the Cardinal Francis George Fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center. Mary, what have you to say about this?
Oh gosh, Jeannie, what a mess. First of all, but hi, Jeannie and Amy. Good morning. Thank you for having me again. The first thing it says to me is that Brandon Johnson must know he's in a lot of trouble, because the fact that he has made such a huge media story of the fact that he was going to meet the Holy Father should tell you everything you need to know. I mean, this is exactly the same trick that Governor Pritzker pulled when he knew he was going to sign the assisted suicide bill into law. He pushed and pushed and pushed to get a private meeting with the Pope so that he could then put out these pictures of himself with Pope Leo and say, we talked about assisted suicide, but because we're different religions, we agreed to disagree. And of course, he would have felt comfortable saying that, because normally it is not the policy of the Vatican Press Office or the Holy See, to comment on private meetings that the Holy Father has, much less private conversations. So he thought he was going to be pretty safe and get away with it, but thank goodness a reporter asked him a question and said, what did you think about Pritzker signing the assisted suicide law right after he saw you? And Pope Leo responded, I was very disappointed in him, and I'm grateful that he did not allow himself to be used. And I think this is a similar situation that we're seeing here with this, boondoggle visit to the Holy Father now. So because Brandon Johnson's appropriate moment of introduction to the Pope should have been the installation. When St. John Paul II was installed as Pope, the city of Krakow, where he was from, I think they sent 3,000 people, including most of their elected
Mary,
officials.
you know what? I gotta. You have to respond to this real quick. This is
Yes, please.
sickening.
I believe that the Pope was blessed by our presence today. Our clergy actually led a prayer and prayed with His Holiness, with the Pope. And I don't know how many people get an opportunity to actually pray for him, but
people pray for him every day. How arrogant was that statement?
No, if you're a Catholic, you know every Mass we pray for the Pope.
Yep.
That's what we pray for before anything else. Yeah, so silly. What an uninformed comment.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. God bless you both. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with Free for All Friday.
Scott Jennings sees vigilante violence coming from the left.
These political vigilantes, these anti-capitalist radicals, these brainless leftists, the violent, and those who cheer on the violent. Instead of resolving our differences at the ballot box, they have decided that we should resolve our differences through violence and rebellion. Spooky times on the American left.
The Scott Jennings Show, weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Donald Trump says he's holding a White House Situation Room meeting to make a final determination on moving forward with a deal to extend the Iran ceasefire.
In a social media post, President Trump says Iran must agree to never have a nuclear weapon and immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz with no tolls. The U.S. would end a naval blockade, preventing access to Iranian ports. And he says the U.S. would unearth Iran's highly enriched uranium to have it destroyed.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. A temporary order from a federal judge in Virginia blocks any payments from a nearly $1.8 billion Justice Department compensation fund that was set up to pay out settlements to individuals accusing the Biden administration of investigating or prosecuting them for political purposes. A judge has set a June 12th hearing about whether or not to extend her order. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will be warmer with plenty of sunshine, reaching a high of 84. Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 58. Tomorrow, expect breezy conditions and slightly cooler temperatures with high thin cloudiness, reaching a high of 72. Sunday is looking beautiful with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
I remember sitting in the kitchen, heartbroken, overwhelmed, staring at costs and a list of decisions. I prayed for strength and reached out to Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, only to hear that Mom had already pre-planned everything so my siblings and I would be protected. Because she planned ahead, we weren't pulled apart by heartbreaking decisions.
Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5407 to schedule a free consultation.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
What day is today? Friday. You know what that means.
Stimulate your mind, man. It's Friday.
One day I'll have Friday on my mind.
It's Friday. Shouldn't you be off with your friends, scaring old people?
It's Friday, Friday. Gotta get down on Friday.
No holds barred, free-for-alls.
After this Friday, the neighborhood will never be the same.
Might hit the highway on the Vegas run, fool, cause it's Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Becomes a free-for-all.
You know what happens here on Friday?
This type of free-for-all melee.
The phone lines are open. Call Jeanne and Amy now. 312-642-5600. It's time for Free for All Friday.
All right, 312-642-5600. Just wanted to wrap up our conversation about Mayor Johnson in Rome. And yes, us taxpayers are paying for it, for him and his staff and his security detail, which I'm sure is large. There's 2 aldermen there, Irvin and Ramirez, who brought her 6-month-old baby dressed in a White Sox outfit. So the Pope blessed him and he smiled when he saw it. And she also brought the Sanctuary City pin. Yay.
When I held my son and I was speaking to the Pope, because each of us actually had the opportunity to speak directly to the Pope one-on-one, he made sure to make it a point that he was very happy to see that my son was a Sox fan and touched my son on the head and made sure that he touched the White Sox logo on his chest.
I mean, he's the Chicago Pope. He's a White Sox fan, whatever. This is such a waste of taxpayer money. What the president of DePaul University did was he brought copies of the Pope's parents' graduation diplomas. And he said that brought the Pope to tears.
The DePaul diplomas were in the back. You could see them prominently displayed. And when we reminded or showed him that they were there, I believe he got a little verklempt. It was really pretty powerful to see that, too.
And today they're meeting with the mayor of Rome, all 46 of them. And then they're checking out their new metro system, their train system. I'm sure it's going to be just like the CTA, Jeannie, but a little bit different.
What, complete with people that stab, light folks on fire, poop on the I don't know.
Yeah, steal people's purses.
Is that what they're probably going to like? Oh, it's just like Chicago.
Yeah, but a lot safer and a lot cleaner.
I am so over these visits to the Pope from these absolute, like, some of the worst people in the world, some of the most non-Catholic people in the world. I'm so over it. Just done. Like, I don't even want to hear about it anymore, quite frankly.
And the fact that our mayor thinks that nobody prays for the Pope, people do on a minute-by-minute basis around this world. So, whatever. Okay. All right. Let's move on. We're going to get to your phone calls, but I want to bring on real quickly our good friend Brian Anderson. He is going to be he is part of a documentary that was produced by and co-directed by Rockford area native Marine Corps veteran Noah Courier. And they're having a screening tomorrow at Hard Rock Casino in Rockford. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Great. So just tell us about this documentary. I know that you were on with Dan yesterday morning, and I felt cheated because I've been trying to get you on The Answer. But we do like to help people. We like to help our wounded veterans. And just tell us quickly the premise of the movie.
Yeah, sure. So it's an all-veteran wheelchair rugby team, and Oscar Mike is military jargon for on the move. And this film kind of follows that team around and through the journeys of what we go through and healing and how we adapt and overcome and, live life in this world and still accomplish great things and live fulfilled lives.
I want to play a real quick clip, a trailer of some function.
I woke up, my head was turned around backwards.
My disease is nicknamed the suicide disease.
My whole life has been nothing but chaos.
Concussion of the blast had collapsed in my right lung. As I'm laying there looking at myself, realizing my legs are gone, my hand's messed up, I still never felt like I was going to die.
And that voice belongs to you at the end there. And why did you know that you weren't going to die? What was going through your mind that was keeping you alive, basically?
I really don't know. I was laying there looking at myself as like a triple amputee, just like, oh, whoa. Like the first thing I actually said was about, whether or not I'd get lucky again. But as I'm looking at myself, I was thinking, well, life's going to be different, man. And oh, crap. Like, this isn't good. And it hurt to breathe, and it was hard to breathe. And I told myself, okay, well, go through these motions, make those muscles. And so I made the muscles of breathing, and just little air is better than no air. And as I was going through that, all I could say is I was focused on that. And I never got that feeling like, oh crap, I'm going to die. I don't know. So I always just kept fighting, and I woke up, it felt like 3 seconds to me, but I woke up 7 days later at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C. after I got in the helicopter. And yeah.
And that happened in Iraq in 2005.
That is correct, yeah.
Brian, were you a rugby player prior to this movie?
I was not, actually. So I'd always been an athlete, and I was a gymnast and high school, baseball, all my life. But after I got blown up, I kind of got really busy. After I came out on the cover of Esquire magazine, I started, acting, and I wrote a book and being a spokesperson. I didn't have time for team sports, and COVID hit, and it slowed things down for me. And Noah called me up because we had met on an airplane, like 5 years back. And he's like, you know what? I think you need to be a part of this rugby team. And I was like, you know what? I think you're right. And I came out and started playing with them, and it was just incredible. And I didn't even realize that I was missing, playing sports. And I really was. I really needed that. It was amazing.
And you went to Rolling Meadows.
I did, yes.
Who started the rugby team for the disabled vets?
It would be Noah Courier and Mason Simons and Tim Dixay, I would believe.
I'm just very interested in it. My husband played rugby at West Point, and then, of course, Martin Pengelly wrote Brotherhood when West Point rugby went to war, about the first class to graduate into the military after 9/11, and it's another really good discussion, and it all centers around rugby. I mean, that's sort of like the continuum between all these folks, and it is an interesting sport, and it's just I can't wait to see your movie. Did you find the sport challenging?
It looks rough in the video.
It's a very challenge. Without being disabled, it's a challenging sport. It's very rough.
So, I mean, without knowing anything about rugby and just watching it, it looks awesome. But what you don't know or see is that it is kind of a big game of chess, too. And so there's a lot of strategy involved, and it is very challenging, absolutely, and very physical. It's amazing.
All right, so how can people get tickets? Because it's tomorrow night. There's a red carpet.
Yes.
At 6 p.m., and then the screening. Yeah, tell us about it. Mm-hmm.
And the screening starts at 7, and it's an hour-and-a-half documentary. And then after that, there'll be a Q&A with all of us that are in the film, and Noah, the director. But you can get tickets at the Hard Rock Casino box office, and then at Ticketmaster as well.
Okay.
And there are links on Facebook and somefunction.com. You can kind of get it everywhere. Just type in SomeFunction. Hopefully you'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
And SomeFunction is spelled with S-U-M, as in like the multiple of all sums.
Yep, somefunction.com. 1,800 guests. That's a very large venue for you guys. So let's fill those seats, everybody. And please go to somefunction.com. Brian, thank you so much. We'd love to have you back on later on in this year. And God bless you.
Yeah, just let me know. I'd love to be around.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And Amy, it's great to see you, to talk to you again.
Yeah, you're going to be a chapter in my book when I talk about our Miami trip.
Okay. That sounds interesting. I can't wait to read it.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Well, we're looking to see, do we have State Rep Marty McLaughlin yet or not? All right. We're going to bring him right in before we take your calls, and we will get to your calls. We have plenty of time for them. But we wanted an update because, again, there's less than 3 days left in session now. And what are they doing down there? State Rep Marty McLaughlin, what's going on?
Yeah, Jeannie, thanks for having me on this morning. We've been here since Monday, as you know, and the Democrats are on overdrive passing resolutions that do absolutely nothing for the constituents in Illinois. We've done things like, I think grass should be green. I like to breathe air. I mean, it's all, I hate the federal government. And a lot of times I say to these people, they're in the wrong building. And we haven't, I feel like Bachman-Turner overdrive. We ain't seen nothing yet on the Bears or anything else that are important, the BUILD Act. So we've got these really important issues, and we're trying to pull it forward so the Dems will discuss it before we have to vote on it. But as usual, they're behind closed doors and letting their hair hang down, and a lot of bad things are probably happening. We won't see till, 2 a.m. So it's the same as it ever was down here. Jeannie.
So, I mean, they're going to pass a budget. They always pass a budget on time. They will do that, except, of course, when it's Rauner and then Madigan makes sure there's no budget for 2 years. That's another story. But they're going to pass a budget. Do you think they will do the Bears and the Build project, or is that going to be left for later on?
Well, I think the BUILD project can't get support from the Democrats this time. There's too many mayors and towns that are against it.
Good.
However, the Bears, the Bears, I think they've got to do something because it's all on the reputation of the governor. So there's been talk that they're going to get rid of the big mega project and just make it specifically for the Bears, which is what it was always going to be about. And if they'd have done this 3 years ago, it would be billions less. And as I said on the floor, they can't afford not to do it because their reputations are on the line. And the longer they wait, the more expensive it's going to get for everybody in Illinois. So I wish we could control it. We can't. So if they're going to do it, get it done at significantly less expense to the residents of Illinois, or send them to Indiana,
Yeah. Do you have any idea what kind of property tax break they would get?
Well, I'm a bit of a financial analyst in the private sector, so I looked at Wrigley Field. Around Wrigley Field, there's about $50 million in money that's brought in by the businesses around Wrigley. If you put the Bears Stadium in Arlington Heights and calculate what that might mean over 20 or 30 years, it would be about $3 billion what would come to that community. So I can only imagine it might look a bit like Rosemont on steroids, which should have a balancing or a positive impact for surrounding property tax owners. But I don't like the idea of a tax giveaway to anyone. But we don't have really much development happening in our region. It'd be about an $8 billion development. But these guys couldn't run a lemonade stand. So when they get involved in billion-dollar businesses, I know we're in trouble.
Well, they are getting involved in billion-dollar businesses. They just decide that the Illinois Department of Insurance gets to determine what your insurance companies can charge you.
Yeah, it's going to be two brother-in-laws on an Excel computer hiding in an office in Springfield. And at great expense, while you have billion-dollar companies with hundreds of millions of dollars of computer power, and we're going to have the people here tell what capital reserve requirements should be for State Farm.
We'll get them a couple number 2 pencils and a highlighter so that they can determine what your insurance rate's going to be because they're so smart down there.
Yeah,
That's
like
scary
I
stuff.
often say, many of them spell Mensa with a Z under the dome here in Springfield. So it's a bit of a problem. But, maybe we should elect different people, Jeannie. For once, we should take a look at who's not getting it done and get their butts out of here. So.
All right. Well,
couldn't agree
thank you.
more.
That was the best update I've heard yet. So God bless you.
If you're not on the floor at 5 in the morning, we'd like to have you back in on Monday to give us the full scoop about what passed in the wee hours of May 31st.
Yeah, thank you, guys, and I'll be happy to do that. I was chosen as the person most likely to tell it like it is, and then they pulled that down immediately, so I know I'm doing my job properly. If any of your listeners want to support me, I'm in the toughest district in the state. It'll be the hardest one to retain Republican, martyforillinois.com, and you can get a lot of my 2-minute speeches there, which will hopefully brighten your day and give you a little information as well.
All right, martyforillinois.com. Oh, you're the best.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And we will talk to you Monday, okay?
Thank you, ladies. Keep up the great work.
All right, thank you. Phone calls coming up next. Grab a line, 312-642-5600 on The Real Story.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's The Real Story on AM 560. The Answer.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives. And MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, 312-642-5600. Jeannie.
Let's go to Rick and Carol String.
Hello, Rick.
Hi, ladies. Thank you again. I just wanted to let you know about a yard sale in West Chicago on Wilson Street, just south of Roosevelt. It's all the proceeds go to Love You More Animal Shelter.
All right. When is that going to be? Is that happening right now?
It's Saturday from 10 to 3, limited, but it's all donated items, lots of good stuff for low prices.
Great. And give us the address one more time, please.
It's Wilson Street, south of Roosevelt.
All right.
I don't know the 29 West 516, I think.
In West Chicago.
West Chicago.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Appreciate the info.
Thank you, Jean. Bye.
I think our boss lives there.
All right, let's go to Ron on the south side.
Hey, ladies, look here. You said it ain't Brandon lie, but that's all he does. But this is for the Pope. This is the message. What's going on in Chicago? Total mayhem. Savages take over the streets over the weekend. Police get run over by cars. In the city of Chicago, police get killed, shot. Innocent people get murdered by illegal aliens who shouldn't be here, and by criminals with multiple offenders who should not be on the street. So the Pope, that's the real story, okay? Brandon is a liar. But it's Friday, and I want to end on a good weekend. I'll let them know I'm a 55-year White Sox fan, so the weather's nice and the White Sox are winning. So you are.
Thanks, Rob. Got a text message. Jeannie and Amy, wow. How arrogant to think that the Pope was blessed by Brandon's presence. Just wow. And also, too, you know, there was a huge delegation of people that went. Phil Stefani, the restaurateur. I mean, the list goes on. And that's fine. They paid for their own flight. But still, my tax dollars paid for them to be transported from the airport to Rome, and then we're paying for their meals. That makes me sick. They're millionaires. All of them are millionaires. They should not be touching any of our tax dollars, especially when we're struggling. Pensions haven't been paid. It's so grotesque.
I'm just appalled that he took that many people, and so many of them have not done standout things and are people of the faith, and they get to go meet the Pope. I mean, that's a big honor, and he took just whoever. Anyway, let's go to Eduardo in Tampa Bay. Eduardo, you've been hanging on for a while here. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Well, I got to go back to Pedro Ramirez. He's the filled-in honor roll student. I grew up at 51st on Laughlin, and that's close to the 5,000 troop. It's pretty ridiculous. I mean, the arrogance of him to go to over there in Italy, where his ass should be parked in Chicago. This is why I told Larry Elder, Karen Bass, Brandon Johnson, Modami all should be in jail. Derelict of duty.
Well, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Eduardo.
Another text message. Jeannie, Amy, we here in Chicago are blessed that you, Brandon Johnson, are not in Chicago today, and hope you stay in Rome. You and your entourage of useless people who have done nothing to improve Chicago in the last 3 years. Also on the part of the delegation was the president of Loyola University. And I thought, wow, this is a great time to ask the Pope to bless the family of Sheridan Gorman, one of our freshman students who was viciously killed by an illegal who had prior convictions, who should not have been here in the first place. But that didn't happen, Jeannie.
That didn't come up in the conversation?
No, because he met one-on-one with each person. He met one-on-one with Stacey Davis Gates, who does not want taxpayer-funded scholarships for black kids at Catholic schools. She sends her kids to a Catholic school, and she's standing in front of the Pope.
This is why I don't even want to talk about it. It makes me so upset that they even got an audience with this man. To spew their crap? Okay.
Here's one of the aldermen who went with. And you know what, though? It's good because Jason Irvin, he got to share a room with his wife, Melissa Conyers-Irvin.
The Pope had a couple words, and he really talked about the city of Chicago being more like a refuge, and also for us to be kind to one another. There's a lot of hostility and incivility in the world right now, and that we ought to be kind to one another.
Okay, so kindness to them, though, Amy, means reparations, because reparations came up as well. Brandon Johnson arguing with the Pope that they deserve reparations because it's been 400 years of slavery to them, 400 years of slavery that we're now responsible for. And so he brings reparations up with the Pope. Whole article on that. Before we go, I don't have time to play this, but I want to close the loop here real quick. I know I was talking about this higher education funding based on race, which would also be part of the reparations package. Let's face it, anytime you can hand out the goodies. And this has been a huge food fight. And I got a text message from Chapin Rose. He is the head budgeteer for the Senate Republicans, and he is the one who has told me all about what's going on here. Here's what he said about that equity education funding. He said they don't have the votes yet. The governor is actively fighting to kill more funding for higher education. The Black Caucus is fighting for a formula without the new money, and it's quite something to see. A Democrat governor fighting both equity and funding to higher education. Let that sink in.
Wow.
So he's a liar on all sides, Governor Pritzker.
The real story. Jeannie's got to join us Monday when we'll see what passed and what didn't and what's still in limbo. Have a great weekend. God bless you and God bless America.
Now that spring is here, it's time for some spring home maintenance.